Today I'm going to be sharing my top 10 drops. Now the criteria for this is going to be, of course the drop itself, but the lead up to the drop is a little bit important, and there are some exceptions that you guys are going to see as we go along through the video that, make some drops on rides greater than others. But before we do that, I do have a few honorable mentions. Of course, I believe I have two. One of them is going to be Mystic Timbers. I guess this applies for, a lot of GCI drops, but just the curvature. I was looking at the Mystic Timbers POV saying they did not use the no lateral G button. It's not banked enough, and that's for a reason. You do get some laterals on it, so it's just definitely a fun drop. Another one is Superman Escape at Six Flags Magic Mountain. It is, it's not a full circuit coaster, so everybody's like, nobody knows what it counts for, but I still think it was very, very unique, and I'm glad I got to experience it twice. Definitely a fun ride. Alright, coming at the number 10 spot, and again, I'm going to reiterate that I'm not judging the rides fully. So, just if a drop is low or if a drop is high does not make it mean it's a great ride. But number 10, we have Sky Rush. Oh, there is my phone. But Sky Rush is all the way back at number 10 because, it's sort of weird. The Intamin lift hill system is really cool, but this is a rare case where you're going to see a rattle make a drop better. So I'm going to try to describe this as best I can. You're going to go over the top and you're going to go over the drop, and it's going to be steep, and then all of a sudden a rattle hits and it just makes it even steeper. So you're looking down, and then all of a sudden you just look more straight down, and it's a little rough, but it sort of makes the drop enjoyable. It's definitely going to make it in the top 10. It is a great ride. That's not what I'm judging this based on, of course, but it's definitely a good drop, and it definitely deserves to be in the top 10. Alright, coming up next, no matter how you feel about this ride, X2 has a great drop, and everybody can agree to that. It's really weird. As I'm about to go down the drop, I expected to flip the other way, and then when it flipped me the opposite way and then threw me down that drop, I wasn't expecting it, and it's the only good part of the ride. I enjoyed, actually. I'm not going to review the whole ride right now, but that drop is absolutely amazing. It's really cool. The uniqueness is what makes it that you have to put it in the top 10 drops. But I thought X2 had an amazing drop. So I'm not going to review the whole rest of the ride, but it's just a cool ride. It's a cool drop. It's one of the coolest things you'll ever experience. That ride is the coolest thing I've ever experienced. But let's go ahead and move on to number 8. Alright, coming in at number 8, we actually have a tie, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this because, these are really great rides. But it's going to be Maverick and Fahrenheit, sort of. So, I'm going to describe the differences first. Maverick has a launch that goes into a straight drop, which, both of these drops are great, but they're short. They're great drops, though, because you will literally be standing up as you go down because your feet will be pushing against it, trying not to, it's crazy. If you've been on it, you know the force I'm trying to describe. But of course, you're going to be looking straight down, and then you're going to go into turn on Maverick. Fahrenheit, however, the straight up vertical lift, I feel like is just as good, if not better, as the whole launch element going up the lift hill on Maverick. But you're still going to go straight down. It's actually beyond straight. I believe Maverick is 95 and Fahrenheit is 97. I really probably shouldn't have stated facts because now I'm going to get hated on in the comment if I'm like half a degree off. But anyways, both drops are great. They're both straight down. Both are great rides. It's not the point of this video. But yeah, that's why these are at my number 8 spot. They're both great drops, but they are very short. So that's why they're so far back on this list. Alright, so now we've got, not B&M hypers, because not all of B&M hypers are created the same, but I put Nitro here, because when I was on Nitro, at least, it did not have a rattlesnake, and, I really enjoyed Nitro drop. Of course, it's a classic B&M drop, it's going to increasingly get steeper, but before you crest the bottom, that probably makes no sense, crest the bottom, but as you're, reaching the bottom, right before that, the drops are really great on B&M hypers. If you've been on one, you probably know what the drops are like, even though not all the hypers are created the same. But this ride, I just thought was amazing, and I thought the drop was definitely a contributing element to that. Alright, moving along, we have a coaster, just the whole type is known just for their drops. Even if you don't like the rides, you've got to admit the drops are really good. And I've got Val Raven sitting here. It is a great drop. It does have 2 of them, which, I'm going to take that into account. I'm going to boost it a little bit. The hanging off the edge part is sort of cool, but you just got to admit, even though this ride does have a little bit of a rattlesnake coming, you can feel the rattlesnake coming, but they're still good drops. You can't argue against it. Whether you think it was a good addition for Cedar Point or not, the drop is still good, and that's what dive coasters are really for, diving. So, of course, B&M is going to accomplish the main task these rides set out for. I definitely enjoy this drop. All right, now we are in our top 5, and you know I'm probably gonna get hate for this. I don't really care, but we have Toppler Dragster / King Ka, mainly just the Strata coasters, and I don't care what anybody says. Look, there is nothing like looking down 420 feet. And people complain the drops on these are too short, and that you just twist and it basically ruins the drop. Well, there's some shorter drops on this list that are equally as short. But on this one, the view is just outstanding, and it's not like the drop's over even though it starts twisting. It's not like that's the greatest part of any ride, a 270-degree twist, but it's still cool. I think it definitely deserves to beat the shorter drop rides on this list, which is why it made the top 5. It's definitely a cool experience. People call these one-trick ponies. To me, they're two because the launches are amazing, but the drops are amazing, and I think the drops on these are great. Obviously, call me a TTD fanboy, even though it's not my number one. I think the Toppler Dragster and King Ka drops are very, very cool, especially at Toppler Dragster, because at Cedar Point, you're enjoying that view for all half of a second you have of it going over the top, and then you're looking straight down, and I think it's just I like the drop on that. I'm just gonna leave it there. All right, coming in at the number 4 spot, we've got a Giga coaster, and it's Millennium. Now this ride beats Toppler Dragster obviously because it is straight down the whole ride, and it's not short straight down. You do get a good view of this, especially since it's on the lake. It's really pretty cool, and you don't expect to go to the top so quickly. I think that's something that really adds to this coaster, is how fast that cable lift is. And you're looking at the beach or along the coastline, and you're like, wow. And then you get to the top, and you're like, well, that was fast. We can't be that high up. And then you get thrown over, and the drop feels forever. People say Fury's drop feels forever. I'm sure this one is just like that. The top is so rounded that it just keeps gradually getting steeper, and it's just an amazing drop. It feels really long, and it definitely deserves to be on this list, even though Millennium's getting a little bit of a rattlesnake. It's still a good drop, so that's why it had to make this list. Alright, well now we have the top 3, and I'm going to be honest, there was an editing error, which is why this one is at number 3, but when you think about it, this ride, it definitely can take the number 3 spot, definitely because of the uniqueness of this drop. But I've got Gatekeeper at the number 3 spot. Now, if you sit on the right spot on this ride, and for me that is back right, I believe, as the rest of the car is twisting over the drop in front of you, you just get pulled over, and it's one of the best drops you will ever have. For those of you who've ridden it in the back right seat, just like let everybody else know how amazing it is. It's really cool actually, because I love the whole twist down drop thing. I forget what it's called. That was probably really stupid that I just called it that. But anyways, I think it's definitely really cool. You're diving under yourself, and you will definitely get that feeling in your stomach as you're twisting and going down. It's actually really, really cool. So I'm not mad that I made an editing mistake. I think this ride should be further emphasized, even though it does have one of the most ruthless rattlesnakes around. It's still definitely a good ride, and definitely a good way to start the ride is that drop. That's it's so creative, it's so unique. Even though it's on a few other wing coasters, I still think this ride can be a top 3 for the top drops, which is why I put it here. Alright, this is a cool one. At the number 2 spot, we actually have Twisted Colossus. Not because the drop is great, just the sheer fact that there are 2 of them that are exactly the same. Cool story for you guys. When I met up with a fan at Six Flags Magic Mountain, as we were riding in the front, we were going over the top, and I guess the chain slowed down. I'm not sure what happened, but we just looked at each other, and we just like pointed down. We were like, what's going on? The chain was gone on the lift hill. We should have been like down the drop, but we were just looking straight, and we were like, what's happening? And then all of a sudden we dropped. I thought that was just a funny moment, a unique moment I had on this ride. But the sheer fact there are 2 of these, the lift hills, it definitely feels a lot taller than it is. I couldn't see it from the park. I was like, how do I find this? I don't see it. But it's still definitely a great ride, and these 2 drops are really, really, they are your standard drops, but the sheer fact that you get 2 of them in one ride, I think definitely deserves to put this ride at the number 2 spot. At the number 1 spot, I don't know if you guys saw this coming or not, but it's going to be El Toro. Now you're sitting there looking at your screen wondering, Will, why is this ride so special? Well, I'm glad you asked. This ride is just, the lead up, first of all, is really good. Coming off of that, Intamin cable lift, you're going around that turn, gaining a little bit of speed, and then you just dive under yourself. Now, why is this different than a dive coaster? A, it's because it's wooden, and you can't, no matter how many times you get on it, you forget how steep it is. It's not, you know, because we're GP and we're like, oh, it's a wooden ride, it can't be good. But it's really pretty cool, actually. You know, you're going over the edge and you just don't think it's gonna get steep, and then it does get steeper, and you dive right under these supports, and it's sort of a cool near miss. Because at the end of the day, you don't expect it to be, you know, that straight down of a wooden drop. And, you know, for those of you who have been on El Toro, work with me here, you know it's a great drop, and El Toro is a great ride, and it's very smooth. They're just coming around that turn, building up speed, building up hype, and then to get literally thrown over the edge off of that turn. I think it's just an amazing drop. I think it definitely deserves to be #1 on this list. Alright guys, well that has been my top 10 drops. Now I have a quick thing to confess. You know, I was a little bit more laid back on the editing of this video, and you know that's why, you know, some things might be a little bit choppy. I might be stuttering like I am now. I know you guys love to tell me that, you know, it's all good, but let me know if you guys liked it more. You know, this was a little more laid back video. You know, I tried to put a little bit more comedy in it. I'm not gonna judge how good of a job I did. But be sure to like the video if you guys liked it, and be sure to comment if you didn't, telling me what was awful. You know, I'm sure nobody has the exact same opinion as me. As a matter of fact, I almost guarantee it. But thank you guys for watching it. Thank you guys for making it to the end. But I will see you in the next video.